Welcome to Open for Business. Today we're visiting Illiana Bunk Beds. Let's go inside and get all the details from Bob. Hi Bob.
Hi Renee.
Thanks for welcoming us here today to Illiana Bunk Beds. This is where you create.
Yes, it is.
Well, tell us a little bit about how Illiana Bunk Beds came to be.
Okay. Well, I've been doing woodworking for about 20 some years, and it's been on just for friends and for family. And my son and I decided to build bunk beds as hopefully a profit center. So the first of this year, we opened this operation up, and we've been going now almost 8 months, and things have been going pretty well. We just finished a display week at the Lake County Fair over in Lake County in Crown Point, Indiana, and got a lot of activity there, got a lot of interest. And in fact, I'm meeting some folks this week from that showed up at the fair and are interested in buying a bed.
That's great. And I understand too that the work you do is bunk beds primarily, but you do so much more than just that.
Yes, we do also custom woodworking, and we're also in the process of making arrangements with a company from Canada to sell their Murphy beds, where we'll be doing all the cabinetry involved with putting together a Murphy bed and a wall bed.
Great, so you have the bunk bed systems that you do, probably some standard but also custom depending on people's needs.
Correct.
And then you also have cabinetry and maybe also business-to-business items like helping someone choose a style for a display cabinet.
That's correct.
Things like that where people need something special and they need it made quality and they need it made right with good care and craftsmanship, and so they can come to you for that.
That's correct.
So right behind us, Bob, is the workshop area where the craftsmen work on all of the bunk beds and other creations here at Illiana Bunk Beds. Could we go back and see the workshop area?
I'd be glad to show you.
Okay, let's go. Bob, we're here in the workshop area, right?
Right.
And tell me a little bit about then how things work here, because it's a process, right?
Yes, it is. We bring our raw materials in, and the first thing they do is they go through the saw to cut everything to the proper length. Once the material's gone through the saw, we bring it over here to the planer and trim off the rough edges and the rough surfaces of the wood. So we end up with a nice, clean, well-shaped piece of wood. We then run the wood through the router to clean up the edges, so when we're done, we have a really nice piece of wood that comes out of basically a standard 2x6 that you would buy for construction.
Okay, so then it's kind of like a flow chart.
Yes.
The parts of the bunk beds and other furniture come through and they go through this process, and then at the end, you have to make sure everything, especially in the bunk beds, is the way it needs to be for safety and legal issues and that sort of thing.
Exactly. All the beds are put together on a jig so that each bed is exactly the same as the previous one as far as dimensions and fitting and so forth. Our beds all meet the national safety standards for bunk beds, which means that spaces between components of the bed have to be small enough so a child can't get their head through, or large enough that they can get their entire body through. That prevents any kind of entrapment.
Okay, so when you're creating the custom beds for people, all of this is kept in mind.
Yes, it is.
Even if they want something that's a different shape or fits in a different space.
That is correct.
So we can rest assured that when we order something from you from Illiana Bunk Beds, that it's going to be proper specifications.
That is correct.
Great. Okay. So I'd also like to ask you about the custom products that you offer here.
Basically, if it's made out of wood, we have the ability to make it. So we work with contractors, we work with private individuals who need certain things that you just can't buy off the shelf because of either the size or the space requirements that they're working with. So we meet with people, find out what their requirements are, draw up plans, get their approval, and we build that product.
So it's really personalized.
It is.
And it all does happen right here.
It all does happen right here.
Nothing is outsourced. So
nothing is outsourced.
What the customer sees here in the workshop is what they get.
Exactly.
In the process of working with customers, choosing woods and styles and so forth, you work with many different woods, right?
Yes, we work with pine. Our beds are primarily made out of pine, but we can also create them out of oak or any other specified species that the customer wants. So when we do a custom job, one of the things that is specified by our customer is the species of wood that they want to use, whether it be oak or maple or birch or poplar or whatever.
Okay, and then you can take like the pine, say that a customer wanted the bunk bed for a certain style in a room, you could still build it from the pine and use a different stain and make it look just about any way they would like.
That's correct.
Bob, thank you so much for helping us see behind the scenes at Illiana Bunk Beds, the process, the quality, and the care that you put into every product here. Thanks so much.
It's been a pleasure, Renee.
Well, we've had a great visit today with Bob. Illiana Bunk Beds is open for business. I'm Renee Hale, and I'll see you next time.